Good evening, everyone. I am Lorraine Ortiz, and I am recording this video for our TST 503 class. A little bit of intro of Toby Mac. Really like him. Okay, so question number 1. My soul journey into becoming a teacher. Why have I chosen to become a teacher? Or perhaps it has chosen me. So I say it's a two-part question because it definitely has chosen me. I've had that gift since elementary school. I remember always wanting to volunteer in the special needs classroom. I didn't feel sorry for the students with disability. I just had a heart. I was drawn to them and I wanted to help them. Even though it wasn't directly teaching, it was just assisting the teacher. Whether it was getting a cup of water for the student or help them do an activity with like hand over hand. My journey began as a school secretary. I got hired as a school secretary. I participated in various IEP meetings as far as translating the IEPs for and interpreting in the meetings. And I also wanted to see how it worked on the other side of the spectrum. Instead of like the paperwork and the meetings, I wanted to see what all the language meant. And so I took an interest and I left my job as an office assistant or school secretary, and I got hired as an instructional aide. I worked in the classroom for 2 years. One in a severe, profound classroom setting, and the other one in a mild moderate, which is where I knew that was my calling to become a special education teacher. I've also helped in the community in our church with volunteering in the special needs class on Sundays. Second question, resiliency may be described as our attempt to deal with a lack of connection, community, and wholeness. Can you recall a time in your own educational or personal experience which required you to demonstrate resiliency? How did you manage to remain resilient? So, I was born here, and at the age of 2, my mom sent me to my grandparents, where I was raised by them until the age of 9. So I came back to the United States and I had no idea how to speak English. And so my own personal experience, I felt helpless. I could not understand what the teachers were saying. Back then in the 80s, the late 80s, there was no assistance for EL students. There was no accommodations. There was no help. My teachers, there was no brown collar teachers. It was just, you know, Caucasian teachers. And um, through God and the people that He placed there, some of my former students, co-students, classmates, they were they helped me. They translated what the teacher would say, and eventually the teacher would sit me next to these students that spoke English and Spanish, and that happened for about a good year until I started speaking the language and I started developing a little bit more of the conversational English. I still didn't understand the teaching, but hey, we made it work. I by the grace of God, I'm here and I'm still pursuing my higher education. And so, just as I remained resilient by asking questions, just continuing to ask. Um, Specifically, if I didn't understand something, I would ask the teacher to please explain it because I didn't understand. I was never shy, never afraid to let the teachers know that I did not understand. And so that goes into question number 3. What might be some ways that you anticipating having to exercise resiliency as a teacher? I want to do the same for my students, knowing that I struggled because of the language barriers that I had. Um, I want to make sure that my students have equal opportunity, learning opportunity, and to know that I will do whatever it takes um, for them, for my students to continue to learn and be successful in their education system, and always encourage them to ask questions and to ask me, and always reassure them that it is okay not to know something because that's what they're in school for, to learn. um what will you do to do what excuse me, what will you do to help yourself thrive in the role of a teacher rather than merely surviving? Definitely continue to obtain some training, classroom observations, subbing, asking questions. If there's something that I'm struggling in, such as teaching a lesson plan or researching it, planning it, um, uh, different methods or ways to teach a student that's maybe not understanding my teaching or my lesson, going back and discussing it with a senior teacher or more, I don't know, veteran teacher, and asking them for suggestions. And like always, research, ask my administrator for assistance. How might your faith intersect with your role as a teacher? My faith has everything. Um, I will be in constant prayer for my incoming, present, and future students, for the Lord to touch my heart to and show me the different ways that students learn, and to for me to be more of an effective teacher, and to be a teacher rather than to be there as a punisher or to put kids down. Have there been any significant cultural beliefs or experiences which have influenced your desire to become a teacher? Yes, my faith. One of my gifts, I do believe, is that I do have is a teacher since very young, even right after high school. I volunteered at the church as a teacher, as a Sunday school coordinator, and I just knew that I just loved teaching, and I loved teaching the little ones and embracing them because children are a gift of God. And I was a child myself once that identified with certain teachers and that they gave me the love and respect. So I want to do that for my future students as well. Has your understanding or experience in matters related to social injustice has an impact on your decision to become a teacher? And if so, how? No, not at all. But I do want to prevent any social injustice. I have, as our history teaches us, that we have come a long way as far as providing education towards free and equal education towards every student. I I'm a recipient of that, and I want to continue the tradition of providing free and equal education to all of our students. It doesn't matter whether they are immigrants, whether they are students with disabilities, whether they are gifted, whether they are um, general population, all students. Um, How might your current educational philosophy have been impacted by your own educational experience in K through 12, by your experience thus far at APU? Um, my educational philosophy has definitely shifted into me looking at it through a paradigm where it's not just black or white. Um, to have that open mindedness that there are over 170 ways that a student learns, different students, and that not all students are the same, not one size fits all. That is what APU has taught me, and I will continue to use that. I agree with that philosophy, with that educational philosophy, and I will ensure that I practice that throughout my career, because I may learn a different way than you learn. And some of us are kinesthetic, some of us are visual, some of us are a combination. It just really does not matter which way they learn. The most important thing is that I, as an educator, get to know my students and get to know the way that they learn so I can teach according to how they learn. Um, it has been an exciting journey. I love the experience that I have gained from my educational experience at APU, and I am planning and hopeful that in the future I continue to get my doctorate to just continue to enhance my um, career as a person, my spiritual walk, and as a teacher. God bless, and have a good night.